Good morning. It is 9:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. It feels so good to be back.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see if I remember how to do this. The phone number, 615-737-9986. You can watch us on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe. I want to be able to take my kids on more great vacations, so that's really on you guys. And you can listen on all the apps or the FM dial. I think that's all the things. I do appreciate you guys. I'll be honest with you. It was a long break, and I started to feel guilty during it. I did. Because there was a moment during my vacation where I had this epiphany of how blessed I am. Not like an epiphany. I trust me, I know I'm blessed. But there was this moment where we're sitting on the boat, I'm watching my kids play in the sand and swim in the ocean, and I'm like, golly, how lucky are we? Like, how good has God been to me? And how good has this audience been to me? And I do realize that, like, I'm able to take my kids and do nice things because I have an audience of people that listen to me for whatever reason, and I'm just grateful for you guys. So let me start there and just say thank you. My family thanks you for all the support, and we are eternally grateful to this audience. I also want to say thank you to Joan Jones and Brian Wilson. Brian covered for me on Thursday and Friday. Joan really did the heavy lift there. How awesome is Joan Jones? Can everybody take a moment to acknowledge the greatness of one Joan Jones? She is just like the epitome of professionalism, and she did such a fantastic job filling in. I was joking before I left. Like I didn't want somebody as good as Joan to fill in because she would take my job. By the grace of God, I'm still employed here at Cumulus Broadcasting because Joan did an unbelievable job. So thank you, Joan. Give Joan her flowers while you can, because I mean, how long until New York calls after a week like that, or DC calls and says, we got a full-time show, Joan. Would you like to move to a bigger market? I think that the Joan could handle this job easily. She's just a pro. So thank you, Joan. I appreciate you for doing what you did. Hope everybody had a great Father's Day. That was awesome. We had a great Father's Day. Fathers are very, very important. That's it. That's the TED Talk. Fathers are very important. I love my kids. Love my wife. We had a fantastic Father's Day. We also we had a fantastic vacation. It was like a Father's Day week, to be honest with you. A lot of time where I was just like hanging with the kids. I really did get to put my phone away. I dabbled. I dipped my toe in the pool occasionally. There were some big stories that I couldn't turn away from. That I did. It was hard to put the phone away. But I felt like I did a good job. My wife at one point gave me an eye roll, and I was like, okay, I'm leaving it. I'm sorry. But I thought I did a decent job disconnecting. So as we move through the news today, give me a little grace and space because I really only just plugged back in last night at 6:30. So there's some stuff I missed. Full disclosure. So fill in the blanks where you can. And there's going to be some stuff I missed. So help me out. You guys are the best. 615-737-9986. What was the Phil Valentine used to call the silent, what did we, and we said we were going to co-opt it.
The silent staff.
The silent staff. I love it. If you guys want to be the silent staff today, help me out on the text line if I missed something.
Please be loud.
We appreciate it. But there was two real big stories that I was just completely captivated by for the time that I did check in. And it was what's been happening in Iran with the Memorandum of Understanding and what's been happening with Israel as well. And the turn that we've kind of seen from the administration where they're like, yo, chill. We're the only friends you have. And I was like, whoa, that's a big shift. Like that is a seismic shift in politics. And there's a couple things at play there, which I definitely want to dive into as the show moves along, which is like, is the shift for lip service for those younger conservatives who are Israel skeptical, or is the shift a genuine expression of frustration for Benjamin Netanyahu and the current Israeli government? Because I think that Maybe it's one of two things. Maybe both things are true at the same time. But I did find it very, very interesting. The other major story that I couldn't help but follow along with was what's been happening in England. And we're not the experts on British politics by any stretch of the imagination, but we have been paying closer attention to what's been happening across the pond over recent weeks because of a young man by the name of Henry Novak. And we have been paying attention, on this show at least, to the rape gangs that have been happening and moving about freely through all of England for a lot of the show. Even going back as far as a year or 2 years, I've only been on the air here coming up on the 3-year anniversary of the Chris Hand Show. And this has been something that we've been following because we know it's been going on and we know that it's been silenced by the government. But Rupert Lowe released the Rape Gang Inquiry. And this is a story that is just really hard to ignore. Yet, at the exact same time, while this is so hard to ignore, it seems like all the usual suspects in the mainstream media are doing everything they can to bury their heads in the sand of this story. And I don't know, maybe I'm like super sensitive to this story because I have young children and I have daughters. Maybe it's because of Father's Day just happening yesterday, but I'm sitting here, I'm reading this Rape Gang Inquiry, and I'm like, yo, where are the Christian dads? Where are the strong men? And I find myself really getting angry. I do. And I think that this Rape Gang Inquiry needs to be a wake-up call to Christian dads. In particular, Christian dads. Because when is enough enough? Well, we're going to talk about the Iran, the Israel stuff. We'll talk about whether or not that was the right decision to get into war. You want me to support a war? Let's go liberate England. How about that? Wouldn't that be sick? Who would sign up for that? I don't think we'd need a draft. I don't think we'd need much of a draft, my friends. I think people would sign up for that. We're going to talk about all that. But I think it needs to be a wake-up call for Christian fathers. And I also don't want to act like we're living in an ivory tower here in America. I think that this needs to be a massive red flag, a warning sign for things to come. I mean, we're seeing these carve-outs, these ethnic conclaves in areas like Dearborn, Michigan, or the Somali population in Minnesota, where they're not assimilating. They're not. And everybody knows it. They're here to spread their culture and their ideology. And we have a test study already of what that looks like when it keeps going unabated. And it looks like 250,000 white British girls raped. So Christian dads, what are we doing? And I think that it's important for everybody to be paying attention to what's happening over there, especially as we move into the summer. I mean, how many people are going on vacation this summer? Anybody going to Europe? I mean, seriously, is your wife, is your daughter? Well, I think it's important to point out, London isn't London anymore, folks. Paris isn't Paris anymore, guys. And we need to wake up to that reality. It's not what we saw in the movies. It's not. It sucks. It's not what it was in the 90s. It's not. That sucks. It has been completely changed. Shattered, if you will. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, he's resigned today. And for that, I say good. Piss off, you wanker. If we're gonna channel the energy of our British friends, piss off, you wanker. Excuse me. But Christian dads, if your wives, your daughters, they're traveling abroad. If your sons are traveling abroad, they're going abroad to study. They're going on vacation. We need to have these conversations. We need to discuss this. You need to know this stuff traveling to Europe. Keep your head on a swivel. You need to know this stuff traveling around America too. We need to stop having our heads buried in the sand here. I mean, I'm on the plane. First off, I'm in the airport. You know how many anti-human trafficking signs there are? And the videos that play before every American Airlines in-flight video that you watch, it's all anti-human trafficking. Like we do need to wake up to the realities of what's happening underneath our noses. So I think that fathers and husbands, we need to have these conversations with our wives and our daughters and our sons. And it's not to like scare them. I think that's the wrong way to go about it. But I think that we do need to talk about what's happening there to protect them. And if you haven't read it yet, the Rupert Lowe rape gang inquiry, it's about 250 pages. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Let me just run through a quick brief summary of the Rupert Lowe rape gang inquiry and what we have learned. Now, I say what we have learned. If you have been paying attention to this story, some of this stuff, it's been around for years. Okay? Like some of these accounts and witness statements, they've floated around the internet for years. So some of this may seem like old information, but this is it's being presented as new because of the rape gang inquiry. So keep that in mind. This is over the last couple of decades in England, the systematic downfall and the public pressure to not say anything mean about the newcomers. For God forbid you be called racist. But let's just put it into perspective. At least 250,000 white British girls were groomed, raped, trafficked, and tortured. Excuse me? Yeah, I know. You didn't hear it on CBS. You didn't hear it on NBC. You didn't hear it on ABC. It wasn't the front page headline of the New York Times. At least 250,000 young white British girls were groomed, raped, trafficked, and tortured. Yeah, let it sink in. And this is a culture issue, my friends. So it's a culture issue. 87 to 95% of the convicted perpetrators in these group-based child sexual exploitation cases were Muslim. They were Muslim. And I don't know how much you pay attention to the culture, but there's horrific stories that come out of their countries as well. So they didn't leave that stuff behind, they brought it with them. And I say it because I've read the stuff online. I've read what happens to these young models that go to Dubai, and then they have the porta parties where they treat these girls like toilets and abuse and rape them. And you see it happening in Muslim nations, and then people are shocked when it happens in a Western nation. I mean, you import the third world, you get the third world. 87 to 95% of the convicted perpetrators were Muslim, predominantly Muslim Pakistani gangs. They operated across 149 local authority districts. 149. So this wasn't isolated, okay? This was about 40% of the country. So it's absolutely a national pattern. And the state in England, they chose to let it grow for decades. Groups from Somalia, Iran, Syria, Turkey, other Muslim origins also involved. Guess what? Again, not to be in an ivory tower. Where have we allowed people to come from? Somalia, Iran, Syria, Turkey. This needs to be a red flag warning. Like we need to sound the alarm bells, because we're not far off. I mean, it's by the grace of God that we have a free speech platform like X. It's by the grace of God that Donald Trump was elected president. We were able to close down the border. But could you imagine? Could you imagine the leftist governments in Britain, the UK institutions, including the police, the social services, the schools, the National Health Service, and politicians failed these victims time and time and time again. And they failed them through denial. They ignored reports. They criminalized the victims. They destroyed evidence. They prioritized political correctness and fears of racism over protecting their kids. Christian fathers, wake up, guys. Wake up. We're going to talk all about this. We have a lot to get to. We only have a very limited amount of time. I am very excited to be back. I can't tell you how grateful I am for this audience, what you guys have done for my family, and how blessed we are because of this audience. I had a great time off. I'm fired up. There's a lot of news to get to. Once again, thank you to Joan Jones for filling in and doing such a fantastic job for me last week. I really do appreciate her. I appreciate Brian Wilson as well. I appreciate you guys. You're welcome to join the show, 615-737-9986. You can also jump in the chat over there on YouTube. Shout out to the chat. Hit like, hit subscribe. We'll be back in moments. It's 9:22 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at United Structural Systems. You know them as USS, and if you've started noticing cracks in your walls, uneven floors, or a driveway that's starting to sink, that's not a home issue, that's a peace of mind issue, and who you're going to trust to fix it matters. This is why I will always recommend my guys over at USS. They've been doing this business the right way since 1994. It's not a mistake that they're still here. It's because they do good work. No scare tactics, no quick fixes, just real inspections, honest answers, and solutions that are built to last. So whether it's foundation repair, crawl space issues, or concrete leveling for your driveway or your patio, USS is going to use engineered systems designed for long-term performance, not just temporary patches. And here's what stands out. If you don't need the work, well, that's what they say. They say you don't need the work. And if you do need the work, they'll tell you exactly why before anything starts. Right now, they're offering 24 months, no interest financing, but only through the end of June. So don't wait, because waiting could always cost you more. These problems don't get less expensive. They get more expensive. Visit USSTN.com or call 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855, USSTN.com.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
The guaranteed offer is the simplest, least stressful way to sell your home. You go to our website, you fill out a quick form, we set an appointment, we bring you an all-cash offer. Literally, there's no lockbox on the front of your house, there's no showings, we pay all cash, we close in as little as 21 days, stress-free. We've helped thousands of homeowners just like you sell your home the hassle-free way with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate.
Iran has just agreed to something they've been blocking for years, and another example of how not to behave on Broadway. Those stories and more coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Sam in the newsroom. Did Joan just leave in protest?
No.
She said, if I can't host the Chris Hand show, I'm not going to do the news either.
Her back is really sore from carrying the station last week.
But Joan, get some ice on it. I would have brought. All right, well, feel better, Joan. Joan has stepped out. We got Sam on the way with headlines in less than a minute. I got some stuff that we're going to talk about. Keir Starmer has resigned from the nation of England. It's because of his lack of action when it came to the Muslims in his nation raping all the young white British girls in his nation. Weird. The details of the rape gang inquiry are disturbing. They need to be talked about, and we're going to do that on the way. We have all of the craziness from the rape gang. I say all of it. It's not all of it. Spoiler alert. We have some big portions of the craziness from the rape gang inquiry. There's no way that I could read the 250-page report on the air, but some people have done it. There's live streams of individuals reading it. I think Audible has it on tape now at this point.
Joan read through like 3 on Thursday, and they're
disturbing.
It's awful.
They're sick.
It's awful.
I just don't understand. I don't understand how that country isn't in a fiery revolt tonight. And one of the things that bugs me is with Keir Starmer resigning, they're going to look at that as like the pivot point of accountability. Then they're going to be like, okay, we did it. And then they're going to move on. And I just don't think that that's enough. I don't think that's enough at all. And when I read you some of the things from the rape gang inquiry, you're going to feel the exact same way. We'll do that next. It's 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 9:30, and I'm Sam Rutherford with your top stories. Vice President J.D. Vance announcing progress as talks for the first day have concluded with Iranian officials. He says nuclear inspectors will be allowed back into the country.
That is a major milestone for the American people and the first step in permanently denuclearizing or permanently ending a nuclear weapons program in Iran.
The vice president also pushed back on what he described as inaccurate reporting about potentially unfrozen Iranian assets, arguing that any future release of funds would be tightly controlled and directed towards purchases that benefit both American farmers and the Iranian people. Closer to home, a Middle Tennessee man has died after falling from his boat on the Barren Fork River in the Mount Leo area. Here's Daniel Ledbetter on Channel 4.
The TWRA says 48-year-old Corey Phillips fell out of the boat and became unresponsive after paddling down the river with 2 other men late Saturday morning. The other men called 911. Phillips was rescued and taken to a hospital but did not survive.
Phillips' death makes the 10th boating passing this year. And a man is facing charges after he allegedly pointed a gun at people walking along Broadway on Friday night. Police say he had been sitting in a vehicle pointing the laser on his Glock at people standing outside a popular bar. The man has been identified as 27-year-old D'Angelo Vanoy. He's also charged with threatening officers with a beating that would have caused them to, quote, be black and blue. He's behind bars on an $80,000 bond. That's the latest news. We've got your weather next. I'm Sam Rutherford, WTN News.
37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. Back from vacation. Had a great time with the wife and the kids. We were in the Virgin Islands. I got to do a lot of dad time. A lot of dad time. And I'll tell you what, I love my kids and my wife more than anything on this planet. And this was just like another week that affirmed that. I mean, I don't think anything changed from before the vacation, but it was great to watch them be out there and have fun, and watch my wife be with her family and her parents, and like watch my kids be with their grandparents. It was awesome. It was awesome. And I really tried to disconnect from the news cycle. I kept dipping my toe in the pool a little bit here and there because there was a lot going on last week while I was gone. Joan did an awesome job filling in. But as I'm sitting there and we're at the beach and we're enjoying this time with my kids, you know, we would go back to the house and we would get the kids to bed. And I would dip my toe back in the news pool. And one of the big stories that kept coming up was this rape gang inquiry. And maybe it was like the perfect storm of like, I'm really enjoying the time with my children and I would do anything for them. And at the same time, I'm watching a country systematically ruin the future for their children, currently ruining the lives of so many children. And I just find myself growing so angry. And it's like, not like an anger where like I'm going to fly off the handle, but it's like a righteous, visceral anger for what they have done. And then also the realization that what's happened in England with the rape gangs, well, it's been done to them by their own government, and it's happened in France, and it's happened in Ireland, and it's happened in Germany, and it's pretty much happened to just about every Western country of white Europeans that we've seen. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it's also happened here. And I don't think that we should be living in an ivory tower and pretend that there aren't these religious enclaves, these ethnic enclaves, these parallel societies that are being built up here in America at the exact same time. And I think that this rape gang inquiry from Rupert Lowe needs to be an absolute wake-up call for our country as much as the entire West. So I think that we should all wake up. I'm already being called a racist, by the way, because I'm talking about, hey, guess what? I don't care. It's so weird. It's so weird how being called a racist has been completely devalued to the point where it doesn't actually, I'm like an otter. Just the water's rolling off my back. I don't care. Your boos mean nothing because I've seen what makes you cheer. So there's nothing that you can do that's going to hurt my feelings. I've read the report, and maybe you should read the report if you think I'm a racist. Maybe. Because the report is wild. The report is on what's happened with the rape gangs. They call them grooming gangs because it's a bit more polite in good old jolly old Britain. Call them grooming gangs. They're rape gangs. That's what they do. And maybe if you read the report, you might open your eyes a little bit. Maybe your head's too far buried in the sand and that report is not going to change your mind at all. Maybe. But I have a hard time believing any dad, left, right, middle, is going to read this report and not, I don't know, think about what might happen if their wives or daughters or even sons would go over there. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely off mark. But I'll read some of it for you. Just an overview of the Rupert Lowe rape gang inquiry out of Britain. At least 250,000 young white girls were groomed, raped, trafficked, and tortured. Perpetrators followed consistent tactics of befriending vulnerable girls as young as 11 with gifts, drugs, alcohol before subjecting them to group rapes, violence, blackmail, pregnancies, forced conversions, and human trafficking. If that's not bad enough, when people sounded the alarm, well, it was UK institutions, including police, social services, schools, NHS, and politicians failing these victims, denying it, ignoring reports, criminalizing the victims, destroying evidence, prioritizing political correctness over fears of racism accusations over child protection. That's what the leadership did there, guys. This is why when I've already been called in the YouTube chat and on the text line, oh, you're a racist. It's like, I don't care what you think. I don't know if you know this. Maybe you don't. Let me fill you in. Muslim is not a race. So, it's not a race. Oh, but Chris, hashtag not all Muslims. Oh, sure, not all Muslims. But 87 to 95% of the convicted perpetrators in group-based child sexual exploitation in England in these cases were Muslim. If it's walking like a duck, it's quacking like a duck. I don't know. I don't know. It was predominantly Muslim Pakistani gangs in England. 149 local authority districts. This wasn't isolated. This was 40% of the country. and the leadership there allowed it to grow for decades. That's fine. It's nothing to worry about. The Muslim perpetrators operated under an honor and shame-based clan code that treated non-Muslim girls, especially young white working class girls, as property available for sexual abuse. Girls were told that they were white trash and they deserved punishment. And the leadership in those countries said, refugees welcome. Come on in. We've had leadership in this country do the exact same thing. Again, I don't want this to seem like it's an ivory tower thing. This needs to be a warning. Like, we need to send up the emergency flares on this one.
You want a supporting verse?
Go for it.
Yeah, out of Surah, it basically gives those whom your right hand possesses. So it means the Quran permits men to have sexual relations with female slaves and war captives, which is how they're treating them.
And trust me, it gets worse. Pregnancy was used as a weapon. Girls were deliberately impregnated for control. Some even miscarried from the trauma that they were put through. Some were forced into abortions. And the state took the babies while leaving the mothers in the same houses where the abuse would continue. Survivors described red rooms for extreme torture, daily rape, passed between brothers, friends, trafficked across county lines. In some cases, they were even shipped back to the Middle East for forced marriage. Oh, and by the way, while all of this was happening, it was filmed for blackmail purposes. Nice. Schools, my friends, schools literally saw older men collecting girls at the gates and heard disclosures of rape on school grounds, and their response was to exclude the victim. In fact, taxi licensing renewed permits for the very drivers who were the logistical backbone of the trafficking networks. And then the whistleblowers got punished, not the rapists. Social workers who sounded the alarm, they got suspended. Parents who dared talk about it on Facebook, dare sound the alarm of what happened to their daughters, well, they were hit with home raids. Their assets were frozen. They were hit with gag orders. Records were shredded. In one case, and this is something that I think the audience needs to understand. In one case, a father was screamed at by police to stop reporting his own daughter was missing. So if you're a father and your daughter is missing and the police are telling you to stop reporting it, at what point, and I'm asking this as a serious question here, at what point do the police in this situation become the enemy? I mean, that's just a serious question. Anybody know? In one case, British police arrested a girl because she had been raped by Muslims, and she had the audacity to go on Facebook about it. What? This is directly from the report, and I quote, "The following week, her daughter had attempted suicide by overdose. She went missing one final time and was found in a field with injuries to her head, ear, a severed finger, numerous cuts and bruises. Following this, she wrote a post on Facebook. alleging that she had been a victim of grooming gangs. The post went viral. Within half an hour, the police arrested her and she was sent to prison. Excuse me? What? Okay, so for all the liberals out there that are burying their heads in the sand on this one, what happened to Believe All Women? Remember that? Do you guys remember Believe All Women? Hashtag Believe All Women. No, not in cases where it's inconvenient. Stop. Following that daughter's conviction, the family experienced sustained harassment and intimidation, particularly from one Muslim man. Sally reports repeated failures by police to protect them. She believes her daughter was a vulnerable young woman, was groomed. I can go on. There's more. How about this? You ready for this? You ready for one? You know, I mentioned a moment ago, at what point did the police become the enemy? Get ready. Just listen. When Fiona's mother called the police to report her daughter missing and mentioned a history of abuse by Asian men, that's what they say. That's what they say out there. It's all Asian men. The call handler told her, "You can't describe them as Asian men because that's racist. You should just be glad your child is being taught a different culture." On one occasion, a police officer returned Fiona, the daughter, to the house where the abuse was occurring and told the men to have fun with her. At what point, my friends, do the police in these situations become your mortal enemy? What would you do if that was your daughter? I have some ideas of what I would do if that was my daughter. Okay, it gets even worse. During one instance, okay, a father showed up to the location where his daughter was being abused, and the police said, "You got to leave." He said, "You can't be here, you dastardly villain, trying to save your daughter." And he said, "Oi," and he left. And he came back. And when he came back to save his daughter, who was being systematically abused by Muslim men, the father was arrested. And I just ask you, I know what I would do, and I do understand I have to walk a tightrope here because I'm not trying to advocate for violence, but I would defend my daughters over any threat, and I would take any penalty that would come to me. Just try me, and I would go absolutely berserk if something like this happened to me. Absolutely berserk if something like this happened to my daughters. So I would just wonder, what would you do if it was you? Listen to this. This is Jack. This is from GB News, and he talks about how he was arrested trying to save his daughter from a rape gang. Arrested. You got me up on audio there? Oh, is that my fault? Sorry. First day back. Let me scroll that back. Here we go.
From an abuse den.
I was arrested outside, put in police car, taken away. We lived up next estate, so as we were passing, the stopped car told me that I would be arrested, to go in the house and don't go back. I was that mad and furious, I went back to the flat. Within a few minutes, police were back, but this time in a van, and it were only a few minutes. So there must have been some on the street waiting, because they must have known I was going back.
So they were watching this flat where your daughter was being abused. They weren't going in to save her, but they did go in to arrest you.
Yeah,
twice.
Yeah, they arrested me second time, took me down at the police station, kept me in there. About an hour and a half later, they come into, because they didn't put me in a cell, they put me in a room. They took me out of the room, took me out through the police station, into the front bit with public, go to report crimes. Took me outside and said, right, go home, because if you go back to that flat, we're going to arrest you for stalking.
We're going to arrest you for stalking if you keep going back there to try and rescue your daughter who's being raped by Muslims. I'm just saying, there's a reason why you need the Second Amendment. There just is. 100% a reason why. Let's go to Jacob real quick in England. What's up, Jake? He wants to talk about England. What's up, Jacob?
Hi there. Just want to say thanks so much for keeping me up informed on US politics. I just want to call in because I live in London, and I just really want to disagree with sort of your characterization. I've lived both in the US and the UK, and I feel incredibly safe in London. I would really encourage you to come visit. Our murder rate is a seventh of what it is in Tennessee. Crime, especially like murder, right now is at a 50-year low.
Hey, do me a solid. Run the Tennessee numbers again, but remove Memphis.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know that. I only know it had 7.9 per 100,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I'll be honest with you, Jacob. I've been following a lot of the media out of London. I think that I mean, just from listening to you, I feel like you lean to the left already, as many people in your country do. And I think that that's part of the issue here. I've talked to quite a few individuals who are from London, like Father Calvin Robinson, who is a man of God, and he has been very vocal on the rape gangs and what's happening there. In fact, he left that country because of how bad it's gotten. I've seen what your country has done to individuals like Tommy Robinson, who spoke out against this, and he was punished by your state. And I've also talked to an individual by the name of Basil the Great just last week on the show. Videos available on YouTube. I know that your media doesn't cover it, and I'm here for that. That's fine. But I am going to continue talking about this. Just like you say, I don't know anything about London. It's rather safe. Okay, maybe so. What does that have to do with the systematic rape of these white girls? And it's not just London; it's 40% of your nation. And by all means, let's agree to disagree, because maybe I don't know everything, and I'll admit that. But I hear what you're saying, and I've read the rape gang inquiry. Everything I've brought to the table is fact. So you can tell me it's safe, but then I would say, tell me why fathers are being arrested when they're trying to rescue their daughters from being raped. And maybe you have a good answer for it. Maybe the stalking charge is legit. But I would just say I've found other reasons why I think it's continuing to happen, and I think it's because nobody wants to be called a mean name. Nobody wants to face the reality of what's happening when you import the third world. And just in case you're curious, while British fathers are being arrested for trying to rescue their daughters, rape victims are being arrested for posting about their trauma on Facebook. Well, I would just say you also have videos of the fathers of the rapists. Yeah, this is a father of a Pakistani gang rapist. And, he doesn't really see what his son did as rape.
And obviously she wasn't a virgin or new to sex.
So you don't see it as rape?
I don't.
And she's 13. She's 13 years old.
Yes, obviously that's some responsibility lies for it. But as far as grooming is concerned, I think that the judge has gone over the board, the jury has gone over the board, the police has gone over the board, just because these lads are Asian.
Sometimes when people show you who they are, I would suggest you believe them. And I think this has been very eye-opening of leftists showing us exactly who they are. And I would just say, believe them when they tell you. 9:55, it's Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis from Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. I'm here with Chris from USS, United Structural Systems. He's checking out my basement, my foundation, my crawl space to see if there's anything wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, so there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we found some cracks in my basement wall. The good news, I've got Chris here who's going to walk me through the next steps.
Yes, so unfortunately, your house has been subject to the pressure of the dirt. The hydrostatic pressure, heavy dirt pushes on foundation walls, and you've got a little bit of what we call bowing. So that wall is pushed in a little bit. We have a lifetime warranty solution for that. So we install, usually in a day or two, this can be done in most situations. We install carbon fiber straps, which keep the wall from moving inward at any point in the future. It's a lifetime warranty for anybody that ever owns this house. So it's a quick and routine thing that we do, but it yields some long-lasting benefits.
It's a great selling point if you want to sell your house.
Absolutely. Good thing about our warranties is they're not only transferable, like the contract says, they're automatically transferred when you sell your house. So you don't have to sign any paperwork or even send us an email saying that you sold your house. Warranty would transfer to the next owner.
It's 10 a.m. and I'm Sam Rutherford with your top stories. Former Fed Chair Alan Greenspan, an authoritative voice at the head of the Federal Reserve for nearly 2 decades, has died at 100. ABC's Brian Clark has more.
Appointed by Ronald Reagan, Alan Greenspan knew the global economy was changing, as he once told Congress.
It's becoming increasingly conceptual and less physical, more services and less physical goods.
Greenspan oversaw a period of unprecedented prosperity through the 1990s, but his policies were later blamed for contributing to the housing crisis and global recession of 2008. Brian Clark, ABC News.
And back here locally in the state of Tennessee, Monroe County authorities say a fentanyl dealer has been sentenced to 8 years in prison under Tennessee's death by distribution law. The Tennessee Star reports Calvin Suttles pleaded guilty to facilitation of second-degree murder after selling the drug to Lamar Rose at a Madisonville gas station back in December of 2023. Surveillance footage captured the transaction, and Rose died of an overdose about 2 hours later. Sheriff Tommy Jones announced the sentence, calling it a sobering reminder. He said, quote, "This case serves as a sobering reminder of the deadly consequences of fentanyl. What may seem like a single purchase can end in tragedy within hours." Suttles will serve the full 8-year sentence behind bars. Even more locally, in Sumner County, 5 people have been arrested after an investigation by the TBI's Human Trafficking Task Force. The bust took place on June 11th and 12th, and all the men that were arrested were charged with promoting prostitution. They are Duany Rodriguez Peña, Alinson Ramirez, Lizardo Rodrigo Santos, Kasim Barnes, and Christopher Torres. The TBI rescued 9 victims, and they have been provided support through local human trafficking victim services. And WSMV4 has issued a first alert weather day for Middle Tennessee with 2 rounds of strong to severe thunderstorms possible. Damaging winds are the main threat, along with heavy downpours that could cause localized flooding. The first round has already moved through overnight into this early morning, and a second round of strong storms is expected this afternoon into the early evening, with the highest risk being between 1 and 8 p.m. So stay weather aware throughout the day, especially if you're outside or traveling. Gusty winds and heavy rain will make the biggest concerns as these storms push across the mid-state. That's the latest news. We've got a weather report next. I'm Sam Rutherford, WTN News.
.05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Just getting back into the swing of things after vacation.
Yeah, you got to loosen up a little bit.
I think it's a Better Water. Little stutter step. It'll be all right. You listen to the show anywhere on all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch us on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe. We appreciate you joining us, however you're joining us. I was waiting for this stuff. I got a grandma texting in. Oh, very, very sweet. Very sweet. We're going back and forth. She's about to go on vacation with her family. Family's everything, that she says. I agree. But this is the original text. She said, Chris, and I felt like this was going to come when I started talking about this. I knew this was going to come eventually. Chris, wish you could be this passionate and angry about the suffering of the Epstein victims. They've been sexually abused and raped too. And still no arrests have been made. The cover-up continues from POTUS and his administration. I responded back and I said I have been upset about the lack of arrests in the Epstein case. And I think I've made all of my feelings on that crystal clear. I want accountability and I want arrests. That being said, I think that you could make the argument, well, I'm not sure it's 100% equivalent, but I think you can make the argument that what's happening in England is even a bit worse than what happened with the Epstein stuff. I think you can make the argument without a doubt that the leftists who have been using the Epstein stuff as a political bludgeon against Trump, that didn't mention it while Biden was in office, they've been completely silent on the Rupert Lowe rape gang inquiry out of England in light of all of this news. Whereas we've been pretty on point with both of these things, haven't we? And in fact, I've made the case that we need arrests. We need arrests of high-profile politicians when it comes to the Epstein stuff. That it was easily a blackmail operation. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. So, yeah, I think both is true. But those on the left, they refuse to acknowledge what's happening with the Rupert Lowe rape gang inquiry. They don't even want to talk about it. It's been like the number one trending topic for like essentially a week. The entire week I was away. I mean, this dominated the social media space. This dominated the internet. But, you know, listen, if you're not habitually online, like most young voters are, you're not seeing it. You're not seeing it on CBS, ABC, NBC. You're just not. That being said, we are seeing some semblance of accountability, I guess you could call it, in the UK. Keir Starmer has resigned, and he cried. He cried when he resigned. Good.
And when I leave the biggest job in the country, I shall spend more time on the most important job, being the best husband I can to my fantastic wife, Vic, who has been a rock by my side through good times and bad, and being the best dad I can to my beautiful children, who are my pride and my joy. Thank you very much.
Oh, he's crying. Soft. Absolutely soft. We don't need these soft leaders. Oh, I'm going to be the best husband I can be. I'm going to be the best dad. Yeah, well, you know, luckily your kids are going to get private security. Luckily, your kids aren't going to have to worry about this issue that so many British individuals have to worry about. Screw off. Piss off, you wanker. Keir Starmer is just a slime ball. Everybody knows it. The situation in England, complete powder keg. And Andrew Tate, I mean, despite what you might think about him, maybe you like his stuff, maybe you don't, maybe you think he's a bad person. Okay, put that aside for a second. What he says here on the Piers Morgan show about London being an absolute powder keg right now because of their ineffective leadership, he's 100% on point here. Listen to this.
But I also want to make something very clear to all the people at home and clear to you that most of the white people are very frustrated and they're finding an enemy amongst themselves to take it out on. I think that the white people on these streets have a lot more in common with the brown people on these streets than they do with the politicians, because that's the problem we have here. Keir did not just only say they're going to face the full force of the law. He told everybody with a point of view, everybody who's concerned about the safety of their children, that they are extremists. And that is the most aggravating language you can possibly choose when people finally have had enough of not feeling safe on their own streets any longer. We have people who cannot afford to pay their bills watching migrants arrive who are now being held up in hotels at the taxpayers' expense for indefinite and periods of time. We're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine. Nobody voted for it. Nobody wants it. And everybody's struggling to pay their bills. Energy prices are through the roof. Inflation is through the roof. Now they no longer feel safe on their streets. They don't want to put their daughters outside to play. The police won't protect them. The police won't turn up for most crimes unless it's something you say bad on Facebook.
Right.
And when they look for a political solution, they're ignored. What kind of powder keg are we building here through incompetent leadership in the UK? This is nothing but a leadership failure. There's not a country in the world where leadership could fail this spectacularly and see any
Andrew,
different result.
All right.
What I mean, again, where is he wrong? And listen, don't. What's the thing? Don't shoot the messenger. It's the message there that matters. And I think he's on point when it comes to the leadership in England and the people in England being completely betrayed by their leadership. And again, it's not an ivory tower thing. I think that we could make a lot of the same arguments about America, giving everything to our newcomers while they just absolutely run roughshod over American culture and take money from us in just the most crazy ways. I mean, we've seen the fraud. You've seen the fraud. We've seen what's going on in Minnesota. We know what's going on in California. They're defunding autism programs. They're defunding SNAP programs. We're seeing it in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. All these newcomers, and they get everything for free. They get the Section 8 housing. They can park their Mercedes in the driveway. They're good. But you don't have to worry about it. Stop asking questions. Though you wouldn't want to be called racist, right? It's crazy. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the show. Let's go to U-Haul Brian on the road. What's up, Brian? How are you?
What's up, brother? Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Had a good time, and you're a family man, so you're my kind of guy. I can't imagine Keir Starmer's children walking around with their dad crying and acting. Well, he's just a Tim Walz sissy anyway, just like O'Connell, and they're all made of the same cloth. I'd be embarrassed to have him as a father or a dad or in any way connected to me. But you're right. That last guy that you had on that's just telling everybody how it really is. We're so blessed to have President Trump. Now, I know he's not perfect. I know you know he's not perfect. Everybody has flaws except for one.
Yep.
It
Amen.
was here many years ago, and what we need guts, courage, bravery, everything that used to mean something in this country now seems like when COVID started, I think that amplified it. Even though I don't like to blame people for other people's actions. You know what? You push me and I let you and I don't do anything. Well, that's my fault. It is your fault for hitting me maybe, but I'm going to punch you back. And I don't know if that's biblical. I was just telling Mason, I don't know that my dad was a Christian, but he wasn't a sissy. He wasn't a coward. He stood up for things, and I'll never forget that, and I'm going to stand up for things too. And, I think Jason Aldean has that one song, Try That in a Small Town, where he says, one day we're going to round up. Well, maybe that day's coming. I know you don't advocate for violence, but
no, I mean, and I can, and I do feel like I'm walking a tightrope here because it's like the anger is real, but it's like the meme, right? And I mean, there's a silver line. It's like this is black pilling and white pilling at the same time, but it's like strong men create good times.
Yep.
Good times create weak men. Weak men create 100%. Hard times. Hard times create 100%. Strong men. Well, we have seen weak men create hard times, and that might be a bit black pilling, but we're going to see the other side of this, where hard times are going to create strong men. And
what did he say? He said recently, maybe two ago, he said, "You know why they hate me? Because I do things."
Yep. I mean, it's just you're not wrong. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm with you, Brian, and I appreciate the call, as always. But I would just say it's black pilling and white pilling at the same time. Weak men create hard times. We are witnessing weak men create hard times across the West, us included. But hard times create strong men, so it's also pretty white pilling at the exact same time. I do believe that we're going to come out on the other side of this stronger and better than ever, as Christendom and as the culture of the West. I think it's going to come out stronger than ever, because these hard times are creating some really strong men. So don't be black-pilled. I think it's only going to get better, actually. Dave in Smyrna, what's up, man? How are you?
Shalom, Chris. Welcome back from vacation, man.
Thank you, sir. How are you, brother?
I'm good. Listen, one of the things that really stands out about this Rupert Loeb report is that for those people who aren't intimately involved with UK politics, and I wouldn't say I'm intimately involved, but let's not forget that Keir Starmer was the head of the Crown Prosecution Service while all this stuff was going on and being reported.
I mean, no, dude, you are so spot on. He ignored it for like a decade, and then Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, he was aware of all these reports too, and he said it's not happening while he's in office.
Yep. So if you want to know why Sir Keir, which I mean, the fact that the guy even has a knighthood just grinds my gears when you think about all England's history of warriors and great warriors, and the fact that turd was honored with a knighthood just really makes me mad. But anyways, I mean, yeah, decades and decades and decades of covering this up, and to say nothing of, can policing in the UK be safe? Or, do they just have mindless automatons who are like we saw in Australia during COVID? They're just going to start arresting people for no reason.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I don't know, maybe you've seen the picture going around online, but it's somebody was showing up because somebody said, two police officers showed up because somebody said something mean on Facebook. And it's two little women, one in a hijab and one British woman. It's like, oh, here I am. I'm going to get arrested for saying something mean on Facebook. But that's what they're more worried about that than they are about the grooming gangs, the rape gangs that have been operating everywhere.
What's really sad is that they are literally. If Orwell thought he would have become Nostradamus, he'd probably tell you that he probably would have laughed at you. I mean, his country is literally living 1984. I mean, right down to newspeak and thought police. When you have cops showing up at your door saying, "We want to know about your thoughts when you wrote this Facebook post." Right. I'm sorry, what? Excuse me? Like, did I just get transported to a parallel dimension?
It was a warning. It was a warning manual.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I'm with you. If ever there was a poster child for why, and again, I understand your tightrope that you're walking, and I walk it with you. But if ever there was a test case for why you need the Second Amendment to protect,
honestly,
when government fails you, when the cops are telling you that they're going to arrest you for trying to save your daughter from being gang raped, your government has failed, and the only thing that you have left is you. That's it.
Amen.
Amen. A lot of us are figuring it out. You're 250 years late to the party, but come on in. The water's fine.
Yep. Listen, dude, you're on point. I appreciate the call as always, Dave. Thank you so much. So, like I said earlier in the show, you want me to support a war? I mean, listen, I'm not a pacifist by any stretch of the imagination. I don't like forever endless conflicts. I want to know that there's a reason why we're doing what we're doing. I said in the lead up to the election in November of 2024, I'll support a war if we go bomb the cartels all over Southern America. That'd be cool. Another war that I would support? That would be liberating England, liberating the West from what their leadership has done to them systematically over the past couple decades. Because somebody needs to save them. Somebody does. I would sign up for that. Would you sign up for that? On the way, we're going to talk about the other war that people are now upset that we're ending. Listen, I'm so confused. I'll be honest. This one it's really weird. So I was told by many very, very pro-Israel commentators, like Mark Levin, the night guy, that I'm not MAGA if I don't support President Trump's actions in Iran, right? If you speak out against the president and you're not super pro-Iran war, which I don't know, I was like on the fence anyway, whatever. But if you're not super pro-Iran war, you're not MAGA. Okay. Now these same commentators, if you spoke out against President Trump for doing that, oh my gosh, you're off. You're off the train. Now these same commentators are speaking out against President Trump for ending the war? What did I miss? I thought you had to support what the president does or you're not MAGA. Oh, only that way? Got it. We'll talk about the latest updates with Iran. We'll talk about J.D. Vance making some comments today on negotiations. There are some things in here that I think we can point to and say, okay, cool, mission accomplished. We've done enough where we can now say we won and we can get out. Maybe not. Maybe not. We'll talk about all that and more. Open to your phone calls as well. 615-737-9986. A lot of show left. It's 10:22 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults. They're our veteran-owned, family-run safe and vault door business right here in Middle Tennessee. And a lot of us want a safe, but we got to figure out some things. Where do we put it? Which one do we buy? How do we get it installed? These are all questions that Aaron and his sons will help you figure out over at Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville. For starters, you can find a detailed video review of every safe they have in stock on their YouTube page. Search Parker Safes on YouTube. From there, give Aaron a call. They'll tell you where you should put it. They'll deliver it themselves. They'll discreetly install it. These guys are absolute pros. And Aaron told me they got a lot of great safes in stock today waiting for you. Not ones that are built for marketing or can be tipped over and pried open by a teenager. That's actually a filing cabinet. Real quality safes from American Security, Rhino, Liberty, Heyman, and more. Don't put it off any longer. Call Aaron today. 931-842-6445. 931-842-6445. Mention the Chris Hand Show. When you buy a safe, you'll get a free pistol safe while supplies last. ParkerSafes.com.
President Trump is not proposing an increase in student visas for Chinese students. The $600K references 2 years' worth of visas, which is simply a continuation of existing policy.
I don't want 300,000 people a year from China in our country.
No.
I just don't.
No.
Because I think they spy.
Yeah.
And I think that they're stealing
I don't even
our
think
intellectual
it's not even
property.
that we think they do.
They do.
They do it. Well, they got busted operating secret police stations in our country.
Yeah.
They got busted operating a secret biolab in California.
And why are they? That's right. I remember that.
They rode a spy balloon over our entire country. There should be...
And Joe Biden let it happen.
There should be no reason why we're doing this.
Coming up here at 10:30, a former U.S. Olympian may be receiving a new color, and federal investigators, are exploring another close call. Where? In the skies. Those stories and more coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That was Sam Rutherford in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. Headlines on the way in less than 5 minutes. We were going to move on to the Iran stuff. But Sam sent me a meme during the break I felt like I had to address. 100% accurate. It says mass deportations are the moderate solution. Prove me wrong. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Mass deportations are the moderate solution. And Gary in Springfield want to talk about the UK. We'll do this call, then we'll jump into the Iran stuff. What's up, Gary?
Hey, Chris. Thank you much for having me on.
Absolutely.
Real quick, it was Carl Higsby. He was on Newsmax 2 about 10 days ago, and he said it will stop in the UK when the people go to the homes of these politicians and drag them into the streets for public opinion and trial. And he says that same thing could happen in the United States of America because we're not going to put up with it. We have the First and Second Amendment, and he was hot.
Yeah,
and I just say that. I know you're walking a tightrope here, but by golly, enough's enough.
And I hope it's true that we wouldn't allow it to happen here. But, I mean, part of me wonders if that's the case. I mean, you see a lot of these areas where they're setting up shop, whether it's in Minnesota or Dearborn, Michigan. And, I mean, I saw a video out of Dearborn, Michigan, where there was a street festival going on, right? And these guys went to the street festival to preach on a public sidewalk about Jesus Christ. And they were shooed away by police. They were creating a public nuisance. They were told that they have to go 6 blocks away. So, like, I see something as trivial as that, and I don't think it's trivial, but you know, minor in the grand scheme of things. And I do wonder in some of these liberal blue strongholds, would we do anything?
Well, I know we would here in Tennessee.
But that's what I'm saying. But if it came out tomorrow that this kind of stuff was happening in Dearborn, if it came out tomorrow that this kind of stuff was happening in Minnesota, would anything actually be done about it? Would these leaders actually be held to account?
I believe so.
I hope so. I hope so. I do have my doubts.
I believe so.
I teeter back and forth between complete black pill, but then like a bit of hope, knowing that hard times create strong men. You know what I mean? It's a weird tightrope to walk.
Well, real quick, if I may, you remember how cute it was? Well, I'm 73, but how cute it was when we were kids in school. We did the Boston Tea Party reenactment in grade school.
Yeah,
that's so cute, right? You know, a true story is they also went over to the governor's mansion in Boston, burned it down, and I forget who it was, one high-profile figure. They caught him running away, and the governor wasn't there, and they tarred and feathered him and put him out in the countryside on a rail, put him on a rail, some pole. He died.
Here's the thing, and I grew up in Boston. When you hear stories of what happened in Boston back in the day when the founding of this country was happening like that, and then you think of Boston today, where the mayor of Boston what was it, like a year ago, 2 years ago, she had a no whites allowed Christmas party. Like, Boston has fallen so much, and I think that story actually proves my point a little bit more than it makes your case.
Oh, I'm just thinking about 50 states, 50 sovereign states, and my state, nah.
No, I don't think it would happen. I don't think it would fly in Tennessee. I agree with you there, but I do wonder if we would be if there would be the same kind of righteous anger if we found out it was happening in a place like Boston, or like we might be angry about it, but would people rise up? I don't know. Maybe. 1031 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 10:31, and I'm Sam Rutherford with your top stories. Federal investigators are looking into a close call at Boston's Logan Airport. Here's ABC's Gio Benitez with more.
An air traffic controller appears to have put 2 planes on a potential collision course, the incident happening Saturday morning. And according to ATC Audio, the controller cleared a Delta flight to land at one runway. And about a minute later, the controller cleared an American flight to take off on an intersecting runway.
And that Delta flight did have to abort its landing. A 3-time U.S. Olympian has been arrested for vandalizing the reflecting pool at the center of a wild controversy playing out in Washington, D.C. David Hearn, who represented the U.S. in canoeing, claimed that he went to the reflecting pool as, quote, a curious, concerned citizen and touched some of the blue coating at the bottom, but claims he didn't vandalize it. Hearn is one of 5 people who have been arrested for vandalizing the pool, and another 5 have been issued federal citations. And back here in Tennessee, a former South African Air Force Brigadier General has pleaded guilty to acting as a foreign agent while working at Oak Ridge National Laboratory. According to the Tennessee Star, 59-year-old Portia Aninyamba worked as a program management specialist in the National Security Program Office at the U.S. Department of Energy facility. She admitted to regularly communicating with an intelligence officer from South Africa's state security agency during 2023 and 2024. The FBI observed Aninyamba's meeting the officer at a restaurant and later at a hotel, where she brought a laptop as instructed. She also pleaded guilty to lying on her U.S. government security clearance application about her foreign government contacts. Aninyamba has been sentenced to 6 months in federal prison, followed by 2 years of supervised release. U.S. Attorney Francis Hamilton says his office remains committed to protecting sensitive information and the important work done at the laboratory. That's the latest news. We've got your weather coming up next. I'm Sam Rutherford, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Zero Res Nashville. We were just on vacation. We had the carpets cleaned recently, so we came home and there was no dirt. There was no dirt anywhere. I know that is quickly going to change. We got rain over the next couple of days. My kids are not going to be able to stay inside, so they're going to be in and out, in and out, in and out. And that's going to come some dirt. It's going to bring some mud, and the carpets inevitably take the worst of the beating. If it's not the kids, it's the dogs. What do you do? Well, we always call our friends at Zero Res Nashville. What they do with the carpet cleaning fits right in line with the Maha approach of staying healthier. They're not cleaning your carpets with harsh chemicals. They're not leaving behind soap residue. They're using their exclusive ZR water system that will actually get everything out. Our carpets, after they're clean, look insanely clean. They dry fast, and honestly, they stay clean way longer, which matters if you got kids, you got dogs running in and out of the house all day long. We're not the only ones that swear by these guys. 4,800 Google reviews, a 4.9 rating. A lot of families around the area trust them. Call them today. Book your house to get cleaned. 2 and 3 room specials happening right now. 615-535-9376. That's 615-535-9376. Or if you don't want to talk to people, you can always book online. ZeroResNashville.com. 38 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. If you got kids in your life.
I love how we both looked at each other.
We both did. During the weather report, did you hear what he said?
Yep.
He said we got what, thunderstorms?
Thunderstorms, and he was talking about inches of rain.
Between 6, 7. I was like, oh my gosh.
Chris and I's eyes both jumped up.
We just looked at each other, then we did the little hand motion. Yep, Sam's leaving now.
Sam's out. Sam's done. Can't take it anymore.
He's had enough.
He's done with us children.
If I could tell you how many times. Dude. All right, so.
Yeah, how was your vacation with that?
On vacation. So get this. I had to deal with it all week. The 6, 7 stuff from the kids. Because guess what my license plate was on the rental car? C00167.
Nice.
So every time we would go to the car, I'd get a cool 67. It's like, come on, we're on vacation, guys.
Guys, I need a break from those two, please.
We're supposed to be on vacation, boys. That's just
no more.
I've had enough. I can't do it anymore.
Can't escape it.
But yes, Stefano. I feel like they do that to troll, right?
They have to.
I feel like these weather people are doing it more than anybody.
Yeah.
They're trying to reach out and tap into that younger audience.
Is Dabin still in?
What are we doing?
They guide the weather. Oh, goodness.
So, anywho, I tried. I was off all last week. Joan did an awesome job filling in for me. Brian did as well. And I did. I tried to keep my toe in the pool. I tried to disconnect during the day, and then at nighttime, I would glance. I would glance at what's happening with the memorandum of understanding that was signed. Not a peace treaty. We're going to be negotiating. Negotiations are going on today. I understand all of that. Let's dive into some of the latest from J.D. Vance. This morning, he announced that they're going to allow UN nuclear inspectors into Iran after intense negotiations. Now, one of the big things that was needed to make sure would never happen is that Iran would never get a nuclear weapon. Donald Trump has been steadfast on that since the beginning of this conflict. He's been steadfast on that for decades, right? I think we can all agree on that. Whether or not you're for or against the war, I think we can all agree on that, right? I think that's fair. That's a great place to start operating from. Well, I mean, if you're paying attention to the negotiations, if you're paying attention to the memorandum of understanding, and tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems like Iran is agreeing to never have a nuclear weapon or purchase a nuclear weapon. And J.D. Vance this morning says he's also gotten Iran to agree to nuclear inspectors after intense negotiations.
And this is probably what we're most excited about as Americans. The Iranians have agreed to invite IAEA inspectors back into their country. That is a major milestone for the American people and the first step in permanently denuclearizing or permanently ending a nuclear weapons program in Iran. And that's exactly what we wanted to do. That's exactly what we asked to happen. We made a lot of great progress on other nuclear talks. And that leads me to the final thing that we wanted to come.
So that's been agreed to after intense negotiations. I think I said UN inspectors. IAEA inspectors are going to be allowed back into the country. That is a major announcement this morning from Vice President Vance. He said that they've made a lot of great progress on the other nuclear talks, and this is going to set up the process for negotiations to continue as they move down the road. I'm here for it. I'm like, I've been saying it for a while. Let's get this conflict over with, right? As quickly as humanly possible. The American people, it's a very unpopular war. Everybody knows it. Whether you're for it or against it, again, I feel like this is something that we can all be honest with ourselves and say that it's very unpopular, right? Is that fair? Like, you may personally like it, but you can look at the overarching sentiment and understand it is unpopular. JD also said that during these negotiations, Iran threatened to walk out, but they never actually followed through. So that they were there to talk a lot of trash. But when you engage in trash talking, the president is not going to respond to that.
and tell us what happened?
No, they didn't throw a wrench in the system. The thing with the Iranians, yes, they did threaten to walk out, or at least there were social media threats that they would walk out. But we were negotiating well past 1 a.m. yesterday, so they didn't walk out. And their technical team is still here in Bergenstock working with our technical team actually as we speak, though I imagine maybe some of them are taking a break to watch this news conference. But look, what we told the Iranians yesterday is when you guys engage in what us millennials might call trash talk, you can't expect the President of the United States not to respond and not to correct the record. So when they say things that aren't true, the President is going to respond to it. I'm going to respond to it. Americans are going to respond to it. When they make threats that aren't rooted in reality, they have to accept that the President of the United States is actually going to set the record straight. That's all that happened. So yes, there was a little bit of threatening, there was a little bit of whining, but at the end of the day, the talks continued and we made great progress.
So that's where we stand right now. That's J.D. Vance this morning as he's coming out of negotiations. The trash talk is just that. It's just trash talk. It is what it is. Moving forward, Scott Bessent has authorized Iranian oil sales for 60 days after Iran agreed to the nuclear inspectors and a free Strait of Hormuz. So there is going to be no tolls. Trump said on Truth Social, never. Some people have been saying 60 days. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure that out. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. A lot of people have been making a big deal about the unfrozen assets, and I think that's a fair thing to point to and be questioning. Can we trust Iran with this money? I think that's a fair critique. One of the developments that we got today is that a lot of that money of the unfrozen assets is going to be used on U.S. farm products. That was announced and reported this morning by Trey Yingst on Fox News.
The second headline here, that Special Envoy Kushner was able to work out a deal with the Qataris that some of these unfrozen Iranian funds are actually going to be used to purchase American farm products and then feed the people of Iran. And so again, the inspectors heading into Iran and also the purchase of American farm goods, two major agenda items for the Americans. The vice president also laid out some of the pillars that were takeaways from the meeting in Switzerland. And one has to do with that deconfliction line to ensure that if shooting starts again, ultimately there's a way to rein back in all parties. Now, we don't know if the Israelis are part of that deconfliction. So far, according to our reporting, they have not signed any sort of document or agreed to terms as it relates to their activity in southern Lebanon. And as we heard just last hour in the remarks that we aired from the leader of Hezbollah, Naim Qassem, they want to see a full Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon.
That brings us to the next interesting point that I feel like was omnipresent during this negotiations period. Israel doesn't want to end the war. And it seems like President Trump does. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Again, I was on vacation all week. I did a lot of research. I did a lot of reading. But it seems like there is some real friction growing between America and Israel. And I don't know if you know this, America's like the only friend left that Israel has. President Trump is the only world leader that is still on Israel's side. So I don't know why the Israelis would be so hell-bent on continuing down their war path when you would have it looks like an opening here for peace, and why they wouldn't trust President Trump in this situation. But it does seem like there's some real friction behind the scenes. We had J.D. Vance last week calling out Israeli cabinet members directly for attacking President Trump. This was
the other issue that the vice president...
Excuse me, sorry, I didn't mean to play that. This was during the press briefing last week. This was on June 18th, so the day before Juneteenth, where J.D. Vance was filling into the White House press briefing room, and he talked directly about this. The Israeli government is speaking out. They're anti-Trump on a lot of this stuff, and he's like, guys, you got to pump the brakes. We're the only friend that you have left in the world.
Now, I saw the Axios report, that Netanyahu is fuming. That's not reflective of the conversations that I've had with him, but maybe he's saying something to somebody else that he's not saying to me. What I will say, and this does bother me, is that you've seen people within Bibi's cabinet who have come out and attacked the deal, and in some ways very personally attacked the President of the United States. And I guess my message to them would be twofold. Number one, Donald J. Trump, is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel at this moment in time. And he happens to be the head of state of the world superpower. If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world. And the second message I would give to some of those cabinet members, Bibi, to his credit, has not gone down this path, but to some of these cabinet members in Israel who are attacking the President of the United States, the other thing that I would say is that over the last 3 months, 2/3 of the defensive weapons that have protected your homeland have been built by American hands and paid for by American tax dollars. The problem for Israel is not Donald J. Trump. And anybody in Israel who thinks their biggest problem is the President of the United States needs to wake up and smell the reality of the situation that country is in. Thank you all.
Listen, that's pretty wild. I don't know. You tell me what you think about that. And I don't think that you're anti-Israel for criticizing Israel's government. I don't think you're anti-Semitic for criticizing Israel's government. But when our government's pushing for peace, and clearly Donald Trump is a friend of Israel, to see their government officials speaking out against him, you can understand the frustration from the Trump administration. And it wasn't just J.D. Vance saying this. This really goes back to Israel not halting operations in Lebanon and how that's been holding up the peace talks, the memorandum of understanding talks, the negotiations, however you want to put it. But it wasn't just Vance. It was Trump saying it as well. This was a few days ago as well. Trump was taking questions at the G7 in France, I believe. Listen to this.
Are you frustrated with Netanyahu, sir?
No. We had a great relationship. We're talking about some end details. I didn't like that he did an attack based on there's a very minor little thing with some drones that were released, and he ends up doing I saw that attack. I saw where that bomb went. Did you see what happened? That was a vicious, that was too much. You can do too much also. But we've had a very effective relationship. Without the United States, there would be no Israel. Without me, there would be no Israel, because no other president was willing to do what I did. I've had a great relationship with Bibi, but now Bibi has to be more responsible with respect to Lebanon. Lebanon used to be a great country. It was a country where you had professors, doctors, lawyers. The great intellect was in Lebanon. Now it's terrible. I would say of all countries, they've been treated the worst. And they can't defend themselves. And they have Hezbollah, which is a problem for them. So, now I'm not happy with the way Israel has handled themselves with Lebanon and with Hezbollah. They should have been able to do the job faster. It just goes on forever. And when that happens, it throws a negative light on the big deal, and that's the deal with Iran.
What did he say that was out of place? What did he say that was off? I think that there's some real friction between these two groups, the Israeli government and the American government. And the Israeli government, I mean, they really do want some blood in Lebanon. I mean, Lebanon. But it's just, that's the reality of the situation. Ben-Gvir, Minister of National Security in Israel, I saw this again last week while I was dipping my toe in the pool of the news cycle late night after we got the kids to bed while we were on vacation. And I see this post come across. And this one's crazy too. Ben-Gvir is the Minister of National Security in Israel, and he posted something on X that violated X's community guidelines, the terms of service. And it violated the terms of service because of the violence in the post. And I'll read it to you. And now X, to its credit, left the post up. If you or I had posted something like this, it probably would have been taken down. Maybe we would have been locked out of our accounts. But the people that are running X, Twitter, they said, this guy is a big-time politician. This should be left up. People need to see this. And it said, for every tear of an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese mothers must weep. All of Lebanon must burn. With all due respect to the Americans, Israel must make it clear to the entire world that the blood of our sons and the security of our citizens are not forfeit. All of Lebanon must burn. Our supreme duty is to protect the citizens of Israel and the soldiers of the IDF, and this commitment takes precedence over every other consideration. I told the Prime Minister, even in our private meetings, for every tear of an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese mothers must weep. I mean, dude, that's pretty dark. All of Lebanon must burn. It does sound like you're calling for genocide here. And J.D. Vance, who has been going around, he's not holding back in these interviews. He addressed this while sitting down with the New York Times, particularly a lot of the attacks that he's been getting from Ben Gvir. And I'll play you this clip, and then we'll move on. But he says, what exactly is your proposal then? You know, if for every tear of an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese mothers must weep. If Lebanon must be burned to the ground, okay, well, what exactly is your proposal here?
But yeah, you've seen people in their system, Ben Gvir and Smotrich, who've attacked the deal. And I guess my response to them would be, what is your exact proposal? And, you know, you're a country of 9 million people. You can't just kill your way out of solving every single national security problem that you have. Look at what...
You can't just kill your way out of it. You're going to have to do some negotiating. You're going to have to come to the table and talk. I mean, the American people, I don't know, maybe you're paying attention, maybe you're not. The love for Israel, and this, it always gets conflated that you're talking about Jewish people. Like, no, this is about the Israeli government and how closely we work with the Israeli government. The approval ratings of that plummeting. It's not just on the left, it's on the right as well. And you see this friction with these two governments, and at a certain point, it's going to become a politically it's just gonna be an ice cold take, I guess would be the best way I could put it. If you're JD Vance and you're running for the presidency in 2028, and you're going to be full bore pro-Israel, that's going to be a ding against you, against a lot of younger conservatives who look at some of this stuff on social media, who look at the Minister of Defense, like Ben Gvir, posting that 1,000 Lebanese mothers must weep for every one Israeli mother. And that's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I mean, the internet, not too fond of this kind of talk. They want to get through this conflict. They want to end it. Get back to peace. Get back to focusing on domestic issues. And I think a lot of Americans feel that way. I don't think it's just on the internet. But the Israeli government, they just seem like actually more war. Actually, we would like more war. Maybe I'm wrong. This is, again, I haven't done a deep dive on every single topic, but I've been paying attention to what's happening at the surface level all week long, and this stuff keeps coming up. People aren't exactly happy about it. They are happy, though, with the Trump administration's response to Israel. Seems like they're not just what did people used to say, that Trump was on a leash being dog walked by Benjamin Netanyahu? I don't think that's the case, clearly. Maybe I'm wrong. 10:56 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 11 a.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A full forecast is on the way. Metro Nashville police have charged a 24-year-old man with criminal homicide after a 12-year-old boy was shot and killed in downtown Nashville last night. WSMV Channel 4 updates us. They have found that authorities say Devin Orr fired the fatal shot during a fight involving a group of about 10 to 15 teens on Union Street at around 7:30 last night. The victim has been identified as 12-year-old Demarion Moorhead. He was shot and rushed to Vanderbilt University Medical Center in extremely critical condition. He later passed away from his injuries. Police say the group had gathered in the area of Union Terrace for what appeared to be a planned fight. Detectives detained multiple people involved before arresting Orr. That happened early this morning at a residence on Fisk Street. Orr has been charged with criminal homicide. No bond has been set at this time. Also here in Nashville, a 44-year-old Canadian man has been arrested by the FBI at Nashville International Airport. Fox 17 reporting this. The man's been arrested on charges of online enticement of a minor and distribution of child pornography. Alexander Towns was taken into custody on June 15th after he arrived from Ottawa, Canada. Federal authorities say from early May through the day of his arrest, he communicated online with an undercover officer posing as a minor and sought to engage in sexual activity. U.S. Attorney Kyle Bumgarner praised the FBI's work, saying they will aggressively prosecute anyone accused of traveling to sexually abuse a minor. FBI Special Agent in Charge Olivia Olson warned that child predators who think they are anonymous online should know there's a good chance that the FBI is on the other end. If convicted, Towns faces a minimum of 10 years in federal prison and up to life in jail. That's the latest news. We've got weather coming up. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
It's 11:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. My friend and yours, Josh Tipo, is in studio joining us for the hour. What's up, Josh?
Living the dream. I'm here on a Monday. It feels weird.
I know. You're jet setting. You're running around the country tomorrow.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, those are good things. All right, so I was talking about Israel. And I was on vacation last week. So I admit it, like a lot of the stuff I'm doing is just kind of like after the kids have gone to bed while I've been on vacation, I'll like dip my toe into the news cycle and just see what's really like the popular topics. And I can't get away from the friction that appears to be happening between Israel and the United States. And part of me wonders if what we're seeing is the Trump administration and Vance in particular knowing that being rabidly pro-Israel is going to be a detriment to you with younger conservative voters, or is there some real frustration here that they're venting on?
So I'm sick of the extremes. There are all these people in politics, I mean, Democrats and Republicans, who act like if you're not down with every single thing Netanyahu says and wants, that you're an anti-Semite. And then there are all these people, especially younger Americans, who think that if we even treat Israel as a geopolitical ally, then we're in the pocket of the Jews and controlled by Netanyahu and bought and paid for.
That post was $7,000 in your checking account, sir. That's what they say. Everybody does that.
No, that's what they say. And the reality is, if you believe A or B, you're completely nuts. So Israel is a mostly not Muslim nation in a sea of Muslim nations. And Islam is completely incompatible with the idea of Americanism, representative democracy, the fact that at least we started as a Christian nation. We're clawing our back to becoming a Christian nation again, one family at a time. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the hour. But Israel is an important ally. They're not an all-important ally. We should not be sending them money. When you're $39 trillion in debt, you shouldn't be sending anyone money. If you were $364,000 in credit card debt, let's say that you really like a guy. He's a great friend. Should you be loaning him any money when you are in over $300,000 of credit card debt?
No.
Yeah, so that is America and Israel. That is America and our allies right now. We have no business sending foreign funding to any nation for any reason.
At the same time, while all this is going on, everyone who didn't want to get into the Iran conflict at the beginning of it, right? Conservatives that were against it. Because I do think that this has split the conservative party. Like, right? Is that fair? It's like 50-50 issue on whether you supported the Iran conflict or not. It might maybe 60-40.
And it's almost entirely split based on age.
It really is.
Almost everyone I know who's older loves it, and almost everyone I know who's younger hates it.
So at the beginning of it, we were told as younger voters, if you were like, is that the right move? Like, well, you're not MAGA. And we were told we're not MAGA by guys like Mark Levin, the night guy. He does the night show here on WTN. And listen, I agree with Mark on 90% of things. Like, I think get that out of the way. But you're told you're not MAGA if you don't support this war. And how dare you criticize President Trump? Blah, 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 blah.
So I'm old enough to remember President Trump winning an election with the promise that we would have no ridiculous forever wars in the Middle East.
Okay, but so we're told by these, and I view Mark Levin as a neocon. We're told by the neocons that you are not MAGA, right? You're criticizing the president. But then in the recent days, Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, they've it feels like they've fallen off the deep end, and now they're the ones criticizing Trump. And I'm wondering, is this kind of statement from Mark Levin MAGA?
I'm going to start the program where I'd rather not start, but I must. I want to say to people in and out of the administration, stop trashing, smearing, bullying the little state of Israel. Stop cozying up to and telling us that the enemy regime in Iran is now more rational, more moderate, and a regime that we can deal with. When just a few months ago they slaughtered 50,000 people, they're still hanging young people today.
So there's Mark Levin. Don't bully Israel. Don't bully this little nation. Also, Mark Levin saying on his radio program that little nation that's being bullied, well, they have some very, very powerful weapons.
But Israel has some very, very powerful weapons that it has not used.
Yeah, we pay
I don't know this firsthand. Just go online and read about it. it's a secret that's not so secretive.
He's talking about nukes. So this
also, who thinks that that's a secret?
And this little nation is being bullied. By the way, they have nukes. Don't make me use them. And he says things like us, and I wonder, like, who are we? Israel first? Is that an America first take? Why can't we have a nuanced conversation about this? But it's like we always get these extremes.
And here's why. So young Americans are so sick of this neocon garbage. In fact, they turned out in record numbers in 2024 to try to eliminate it from our party platform. They were sick of this stuff. They didn't want to be shipped off to some third world country. There's a reason why Donald Trump, you know what he would always call the Middle East in his first term when people tried to get him engaged in conflict? He would use 3 words to describe the Middle East when he answered people to say why he wasn't going to go to war there. He would call it the region of blood and sand. He'd just be like, it's just a bunch of blood and sand. Why would I do that? So I think that he's returning to his roots there ideologically. So I love that Donald Trump is keeping his promise to the American people. One of the core things that he voted, one of the core things that the base voted for in 2024, including me. One of the big reasons why I supported him so aggressively was because he promised no more dumb wars in the Middle East, no more forever wars anywhere in the world. And him pulling out of Iran like this is a huge fulfillment of one of the promises that I voted for him to keep.
So then you get a lot of pushback, and it always comes through a biblical lens, right? And I'd love to get your take on this. And I got the text 2 minutes ago. Chris, the Bible says those who bless Israel will be blessed. We can't pick and choose. We have to support Israel. Okay, but what if I should be praying for a government that isn't going to continue this conflict? What if I should be praying for a government that would actually be working with the Trump administration towards peace rather than ruining peace deals?
I mean, that sounds like a blessing to Israel to me. And the person who just texted in, they don't understand something that has really not been explained well in the American church, and that is the fact that America is not the church. So if the Bible commands us to bless Israel and to care about their welfare and to pray for the welfare and the safety of Jerusalem, then that's what we need to do as Christians. The Bible is informing our behavior as Christians. The Bible is not dictating geopolitical policy for the United States of America or Colombia or Venezuela or Canada or any other country. That's how the church should act. That's not a command to achieve a certain political end.
Thank you. They always throw that at you.
Well, it's because a lot of them don't understand what that means.
And I just wonder...
And the Abrahamic covenant is real. And what's so interesting is in Genesis, God quite literally gives us geographical boundaries for where Abraham's descendants are going to settle, essentially predicts where the nation of Israel ends up being. But the United States of America is not the church. So if we are commanded something as Christians, that does not mean that America has to fulfill the obligations of the church.
Those who bless Israel will be blessed. What if it would be a blessing to Israel to have a more peaceful government?
Look, I'm not a foreign policy expert, but that sounds like a pretty good idea to me.
Right? Is that a weird take?
I mean, Trump is bending over backwards to try to create an environment of peace and growth in the Middle East. And you look at what the Middle East could become. You look at what we see in little pockets like Dubai. I could see a tremendous amount of wealth, a tremendous amount of tourism, a tremendous amount of AI-driven 21st century growth in that region. And you need common sense leaders of those nations who want to play ball and who want to make money and who want to build up life for their people. And right now, throwing gasoline on the fire of nations that just want to send missiles at each other, I mean, that's not going to get that done.
What's your take on people who say the Israel of today is not the Israel in the Bible?
So it is true that it is different. So the Israel in the Bible was a divine dictatorship where God quite literally led them as a cloud and as a pillar of fire, one by day, one by night. He directly led them through judges. He directly led them through kings he spoke with, sometimes directly, sometimes through the priesthood. So you're right that it's different, but there's no arguing around the fact that the Abrahamic covenant makes the promise to him and to his descendants that there is a set piece of geographical land that his descendants are going to occupy. God essentially predicts that the nation of Israel as we know it today exists. So it's not the same thing, but it is genuinely a fulfillment of prophecy from the Old Testament. That does not mean that it's the 51st state. That does not mean that whoever's in charge should be able to dictate to the President of the United States everything that we do, saying God's going to withhold his blessing unless you do whatever we want you to do right now. But that does not cancel the Abrahamic covenant.
But there are a lot of people that say that Christians are the new Israel.
You're right, and that would essentially be super secessionism. So that's something that's very popular. We should do a whole hour on this one of these days.
Well, because here's the other thing: it's like I find these topics fascinating, but a lot of people get really angry about them either way you go. And I'm like, I'm not here to get angry. I'm just in it for the discussion. So and I'll see people I respect that'll say no. Christians are the new Israel. And then I'll see people that I respect that'll say, no, Israel is Israel. That's, what do they call it? There's a word for it, where you're
thinking dispensationalism?
Yes.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, and we should break this down in detail. I think this would be a really good long form interview we could do together. In Romans, Paul picks this apart in a more detailed way than anywhere else in the Bible. And we'll unpack it when we have more time. This is like an hour, 2-hour conversation. Essentially, he explains that those of us who are under the new covenant, those of us who are Gentile believers, are grafted into the blessings in the covenant that God prepared for his people Israel. And there are lots of nuances there. There are lots of people who think that that means that if you are ethnically Jewish, you're automatically saved. That's not true. But essentially, Paul says in Romans, rather explicitly, that us as New Testament believers, we are grafted into the blessings of God's chosen people. We do not replace. The language is pretty explicit there.
Okay. I'm still learning. I don't know. I don't know. I just find it all fascinating. But people get very upset.
Yeah, they get very passionate about it.
On either side.
Yeah.
And it's just wild to me. I don't know. Should the Bible be dictating our foreign policy as America?
So biblical wisdom is the foundation of Western culture as we know it. But picking and choosing a verse that should apply to God's chosen people and then New Testament believers, and then saying that's how your nation must act is completely insane.
I'm with you. Rupert Lowe rape gang inquiry. Have you read that?
I mean, enough of it to be horrified. And this is what happens when you are at step 11, 12, 13, 14 down the path of a total DEI society, where when you fully lean in and believe in the Marxist oppressor, and victim narrative, then there are certain protected classes of people, usually based on skin color, usually based on nation of origin, usually based on ethnicity, who get to do whatever they want, which in the case of the UK means that there are certain people who are non-white who get to run around the country and rape whoever they want, and people are afraid to do anything about it because it'd be racist to stop them, and that's completely insane.
So I this is one of the stories. Again, I know I'm on vacation last week, and I'm really trying to just do surface level news, but this was another story that just wasn't going away. And I noticed it's not being covered by the usual suspects, the ABC, the CBS, the NBC. I want to dive into that, especially in lieu of Father's Day yesterday. I asked the question earlier, where are all the strong men in Europe? Where are the strong men in the West? And at what point is your government the enemy? And I want to unpack that with you next. It's 11:21. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Cover Nash. Shane Ring is standing by waiting for your call. You can get health insurance today. You don't have to wait for open enrollment. That's what the big health insurance companies want you to think. That's a myth. That's don't believe it. You can get covered today right now with Cover Nash. No waiting, no gimmicks. You missed open enrollment, no problem. You lost your job coverage, Shane can help you out. If you're sick of overpriced junk insurance, or if you want to know if your insurance is junk and overpriced, call Shane Ring today. Cover Nash partners with over 75 top-rated insurance companies, including brand new nationwide PPO plans with deductibles as low as $250, flat $50 doctor visits, ACA compliant plans with free preventative care, plans for individuals, families, self-employed folks, even small businesses. Stop overpaying, stop waiting, stop thinking you're stuck. You're not. It's a click or a call away. CoverNash.com, 615-465-0023, 615-465-0023. Health insurance on your terms, not the government's. CoverNash.com. All right, so anyway, Canada.
In the unlikely event that you find yourself the victim of a home invasion, we are urging citizens not to take matters into their own hands. But don't engage unless absolutely necessary.
Is that so? Don't take matters into your own hands? Bro, they're in my living room.
We urge you to call 911 and do everything you can to keep yourself and loved ones safe until police arrive, and be the best witness possible.
Oh, be the best witness possible as your wife is being beaten by home invaders. You're being tied up. Just call Lee, chip in, and be a great witness. You know, Superman, and then, you got Bizarro. In Florida, they're like, we're going to shoot you stone cold dead. This is Bizarro, Florida. Is that what Ontario is?
It's close enough.
More on the Iran peace deal negotiations. That's coming up at the bottom of the hour. Also, a Tennessee man dies in a boating accident and a music industry icon passes away. We'll have those stories at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Jay Harper in the newsroom. Headlines on the way, less than 5 minutes. My name's Chris Hand. Show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. I got my friend Josh Tifo in studio. You can find him all over social media at Josh Tifo, THIFAULT. Nailed it. It's my first day back. It's a work in progress. A couple people wanted to weigh in before we go to the Rupert Lowe rape gang stuff about Israel and Christians and all that. And I was like, let's take the calls. Let's go to Joey in Nashville first. What's up, Joey? How are you?
Hey, going good. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, man.
We've talked to Joey before. Joey, we've talked a bunch.
Well, I don't know if you guys are catching up or if it's just trickling down, but Lebanon, the place that Israel's bombing right now has a huge Christian population. It's not about Muslim. They are a lot of Christians there, and even some right-wing podcasters. Byron, I can't think of his name off top. He mentioned how he got spit on, but only one time when he went to Jerusalem.
Oh, that you're talking about. That's Brandon. I've seen that clip. That's Brandon Tatum.
Yes, sir. Yes, Brandon Tatum. Yes, and they make it like it's normal. And I mean, when I said I went on a deep dive, man. You have to study Judaism's core beliefs, and even in their Torah, it talks about how they believe Jesus is. Just look it up. I hate to say it; it's so gruesome. But they call him JC. They don't even allow kids in schools to use the plus symbol because it represents the cross. They hate Jesus so much, and I think when people that don't know that start to understand that,
it's fun. It's funny you say that because the slur, the K word slur, came from the Hebrew word kaikel, which was for circle. Because when the Jews would come in on Ellis Island, they wouldn't sign anything with an X; they would do a circle because it was too close to a cross. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff there. But I would say, like, is that everyone that lives in Israel?
Well, listen, everyone who's mad about us stopping war with Iran is a Jew. The Zionism. I wouldn't say. Jews in America.
And I'll actually push back on that. I know a lot of people who are mad that we're not in an all-out assault on Iran right now, and it's a lot of people in the political class on both sides of the aisle, and some of them are Jews and some of them are not. It's people who believe that we should be police of the world.
Yeah, well, AIPAC funds people on both sides of the aisles, and they are all about.
So, but here's my thing. Here's my thing, Joe, and we've talked to you a bunch. Like when you want to have nuanced conversations about this. Like guys that come off and then go like every Jew hates us, every Jew is this, every Jew is that. Like then we lose the ground to have the nuanced conversation on foreign policy.
Every Jew hates us, but look at their religious doctrine.
But you see it. But like even when you go there, it's like we're losing the opportunity to have a nuanced conversation about foreign policy. Because no matter what, from the outside looking in, the guy on the street who hasn't been paying close attention, they look at you and they're like, man, that guy just hates every Jew.
No, I love Jesus Christ and I'm a Christian.
But do you get where I'm coming from?
Absolutely. I've had these conversations where people they blow me off and I've had to calm down and I've had to because it's life changing. I mean, if you think about every war in the Middle East, it had something to do, whether you conspiracy theorists or not. We were took there by Netanyahu in the last 20 years, just because they're so scared. But they're bombing the people they're scared of. They're not being bombed by them.
I mean, but you do see missiles going towards Israel. My thing would be like, okay, how many of those?
If you lived on a farm,
but your stance
came and killed your whole family, you're going to shoot back.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But your stance is that we're doing all of this for Israel 100% because we're controlled by them. And I'm like, okay, but are there times when our global foreign policy initiatives overlapped and we both wanted the same thing with an ally in the region?
Well, I don't consider them an ally at all. What have they done for us besides dictate our elections? They fund left and right. It's not just the Democrats they fund; it's the Republicans. AIPAC is the biggest donor.
I mean, okay,
not
but
an ally
on the AIPAC front, which I think is fair. Like I'm not a fan of AIPAC dumping money into our elections, but you can point to somebody.
But their core goal is Israel,
but
not America.
That's totally fair, and I'll concede that point, and it's why I don't think AIPAC should be. I think they should register as a foreign agent. But I would say you look at a Thomas Massey election. He couldn't get over $20 million of AIPAC money, which everybody points to recently, but he really couldn't get over a Trump endorsement because Ken Paxton had a Trump endorsement. He also had $90 million spent against.
Trump got in there. He's not doing what he said he was going to do.
But Ken Paxton had to overcome $90 million spent against him by Rhino Republicans.
Your listeners are going to call me a liberal. I'm a Christian. I'm against transgenders in schools. I'm against all that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm a right wing.
I think I think politically we probably line up a lot closer than somebody on the Democrat side of the aisle. But I'm just saying,
you're too docile for me, man. I'm
much more nuanced and measured, and I think that you're quick to react.
I just think that maybe you haven't hit you yet. I don't know. Maybe some of the things I've seen, maybe they haven't hit people. I'm a disabled. I have all day to research. I've done it the past 5 years, and I just hope people wake up before it is too late. before it is too late, because they're already got our hand. How come we can talk all day? Just think about it, people. We can talk all day how horrible Muslims are when 90% of you haven't been affected by a Muslim in Tennessee. But if you say one thing about a Jew, you're canceled. You're took off. They take your livelihood, and you're just horrible. But we can do it to Muslims all day. That's not very Christian of us when Muslims actually support Jesus Christ. And Judaism hates Jesus Christ.
I think you can make the case that a lot of Jews came to this country and assimilated to the Western culture, where you have Muslims coming here and they're separating themselves.
We got pornography, we got everything. The movie, everything is funded. And I hate to go back, but I love Kanye West, man. I hate to go back to it. But a couple of years ago, he put out he showed a picture of every main corporation and business that's owned in this country, and 90% of it is Jewish. And I hate to say it, but when you know how they feel about Christians, then you know that it doesn't matter how they make their money off Christians. It doesn't matter if they pollute our government. It doesn't matter if they pollute our children with roadblocks and pornography and OnlyFans. It doesn't matter, because we are nothing but goyim to them.
What responsibility do the parents have in there? I don't let my kids on Roblox.
Then you're one of the very many few. But I'm just saying, it's not right for us to dwell in what I call goy slop, which is, that's a whole nother thing. But that's it. That's all I want to say. If one listener just gets on some research, maybe they'll understand. I don't know. I'm just compelled to say it because I'm a Christian, and I've seen more.
Hey man, I don't. But here's the thing: like, you'll say that we're controlled by Israel, and you've accused me of being controlled by Israel. Yet I always let you on to have these conversations.
I mean, after 4 hours after you go home, Chris, you know who's on this radio? Oh, Tel Aviv Levin. Mark Levin. I'm not saying
I just spent the beginning of this segment right around 11:10.
Absolutely. I've seen that. I peeped it, and I appreciate that. It's just
but my thing is you do go back to it's an all Jew thing, and I go back to there's portions that are Israel first and portions that align with what we want here in America.
Their religion is fine. They can believe whatever they want religiously. Right, but that's tied into our government, right? And that's
that's where I start to disagree. I think that there are people in our government that are full sail Israel first, and I think that you can make that argument. But I wouldn't say it's the entire government. I mean, you're seeing the highest levels of the administration speak out against Netanyahu this week.
Oh, they had one job. And that was to not go bomb Christians in Lebanon. And 13 hours after they signed the peace deal, they're over there bombing them. You got leadership of our greatest ally telling us
the vice president called him out about it, and the president of the United States called him out about it.
I just want your listeners to know.
But I'm just saying, you go full Zog, and I'm like, the president and the vice president is speaking out against it.
I get that, but you can't. I mean, that's just how much you trust them. I've lost all.
I'm just looking at it at face. I'm just looking at it at face value.
I'm double black pilled, whatever you want to call it.
I know you're black pilled, and that's why I always let you on, man. Because I think the more we have these conversations, I'm like, I think like you just got to take a deep breath sometimes, man. I appreciate the call, though.
I got to tone it down. Thank you for taking it. Y'all have a great day.
You too, man. 11:35 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That was tough.
Yes, it is 35 minutes past 11. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll get you a forecast here in just a bit. The U.S.-Iran peace negotiation mediators say that both sides have agreed to a new 60-day roadmap toward a final deal. Technical negotiations on nuclear issues and sanctions now said to be the focus. ABC's Tom Soufi-Burridge, he's in Switzerland where the talks are taking place.
Ever since President Trump signed that memorandum of understanding to reopen the Strait of Hormuz less than 5 days ago, it's looked pretty shaky. It has hinged on whether or not there's a ceasefire in Lebanon. Finally, on the ground in Lebanon, there seems to be calm. And there is this new mechanism which has been agreed on in the talks to bring in all parties to basically, if there is a firing incident by Hezbollah, backed by Iran or by the Israeli military, that mechanism potentially could be used to kind of de-escalate.
We now turn back to Middle Tennessee, where a man has died after falling from his boat on the Barren Fork River in the Mount Leo area. Danielle Ledbetter from Channel 4 has more.
The TWRA says 48-year-old Corey Phillips fell out of the boat and became unresponsive after paddling down the river with two other men late Saturday morning. The other men called 911. Phillips was rescued and taken to a hospital but did not survive.
His death makes the 10th boating death this year in the state. Legendary Grammy-winning record producer and executive Clive Davis has died in New York. Dave Packer has more.
In a 2013 interview, Davis talked about his greatest find, Whitney Houston.
In the beginning, I discovered her when she was 19. I used to say, just keep pinching yourself. We had 7 number ones in a row. Our first album sold 22 million around the world.
Davis's catalog of artists besides Houston include Aretha Franklin, Earth, Wind and Fire, Barry Manilow, Billy Joel, and Jennifer Hudson. Clive Davis was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2000 in the non-performers category.
Davis was 94 years of age. That's the latest news. Weather on the way. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They have leveled up once again. We've been talking about it for weeks. I'm putting my seal of approval all over it. Dr. Mitchell is always on the cutting edge with leading technology, and he's got a new insane build-out called Medical Bay 1. It's like climbing into a healing spaceship. Full-body lasers, red light, near-infrared, stem cell stimulation, and photon healing that will wake up your cells the way God intended. You get massaged while it regenerates tissue. It is futuristic, and it works, and they also lead the game in non-surgical spinal decompression. You're going to get real relief at the Wellness Institute without surgery, without painful injections, and without the opioids. Right now, you can take advantage of the Epic Spinal Special. That's $33 off every single visit. Epic Healing is waiting for you. Head to painisbad.com right now. That's painisbad.com or call 615-246-5009. You have lived with pain for far too long. You can still enjoy a lot of your summer if you take advantage of what the Wellness Institute of Nashville has going on today. Painisbad.com or 615-246-5009. That's painisbad.com. 42 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Ham. We went a little long last segment. I don't normally hit the news at 35 minutes past the hour, but sometimes we do. We got to do what we got to do. People don't think it'd be like it is, but it do. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Josh Tifo is in studio. I wanted to talk to you about this because I found it infuriating. I spent the last week in the Virgin Islands with my wife, my children. We're around family, and I'm watching these kids just play in the sand and have fun. Not a care in the world, no fears. And I'm like thinking, God is so good. How blessed we are. And then we'd go back to the house. The kids would go to bed, and I would dip my toe in the news cycle, and I would see the Rupert Lowe rape gang inquiry everywhere. But it's not on the mainstream media. The mainstream media has been avoiding it like the plague. But across the internet, you can't get away from it. This report that said 250,000 white girls were groomed, raped, trafficked, tortured systematically, UK institutions, including the police, social services, schools, the NHS, the politicians. They failed the victims. They criminalized the victims. They ignored reports. They destroyed evidence. They prioritized political correctness and fears of being called racism over protecting these kids. And my blood was boiling, with just a righteous, visceral anger. And then we rolled into Father's Day, and I'm doing research. It's late Father's Day evening. The kids are back in bed. I'm really diving in. And I found myself so angry. And I've been walking a tightrope today. And it's because I don't want to advocate for violence, but then I read a report and it's the guy showed up to save his daughter from being gang raped, and the police arrested him. And I would be okay, well, at that point, it would take everything in me, and I wouldn't even probably stop it. If I had to stop it, it would take everything in me. But I would become like a murderous animal. I would look at those badges of the police officers trying to arrest me for trying to save my daughter, and those would they would magically transform into some sort of target. My friend Josh Tifo is in studio. Am I wrong for feeling that way?
So you feel the same way that most red-blooded American men feel in the South. So that's still the culture that we have. It's the culture in other places in the country, not all of it. I know you mentioned off air, you said I could see this happening in a place like Boston. And yeah. I agree with you 100%. And I'll actually say something a little more provocative. This is what America would have looked like if Hillary Clinton won in 2016 and the MAGA movement never happened. And you saw political correctness escalate and escalate and escalate. And you can't say Merry Christmas. And
how dare you say Merry Christmas?
You have protected classes. And if you have a certain skin color or you're from a certain nation, then all of a sudden you can do whatever. And if you speak out against these people, you're a racist. This is what American culture was heading towards. And thank God he saved us from that. I'm very thankful for Donald Trump. He really changed the course of modern American history. But this is what happens when a nation has a serious deficit of strong, godly men who understand that their chief responsibility before God and before man is protecting their wives and their kids. And when you rip that out of society, guess what? Evil men get to do whatever they want.
And that needs to be your first priority. It has to be. Your kids and your wife.
I mean, if you don't protect your kids and your wife, you're not a man. I'm sorry. You're not a man.
But
you're not even a boy who shaves. I don't know what you are.
But I'm reading this thing. It's just infuriating, and I'm like, how did this go so far? And how is this not a warning sign? This is an extreme red alert to every Christian man in America. Because, like you said, we're not in an ivory tower here. The amount of individuals that were led into this country by Joe Biden, you look at the liberal strongholds, they're already bilking taxpayer dollars for SNAP benefits and autism programs. When does this happen here?
So, not exactly what happened, but same source. You look at all of the outrageous violence all around the country on Juneteenth, all these quote-unquote teen takeovers and hundreds of teenagers attacking police and starting fights and killing people. I mean, it's terrible. It happened in major cities all over the country.
Chicago.
That happened because in those families, you don't have a strong, godly Christian man leading that household. Because when you have a strong, godly Christian man leading a household, then he is where the buck stops. and his kid's probably not running around in the streets shooting people when they're 16. And his daughter is probably not getting groomed by a Muslim gang, because his responsibility before God is making sure that his wife and his kids are cared for and safe. And it's easy to look at the macro problems and be horrified at them, and we should be. I mean, seeing a report that shows that 250,000 young women were groomed and raped in the UK, 250,000, we can't even wrap our mind around that. A lot of them, they were brutalized hundreds of times. 250,000 young women.
Forced into marriages, pregnancies weaponized against them, forced abortions. I mean, on and on and on. Filmed. These events were filmed. Like, there's video evidence, and there was no justice.
And this is the degeneracy and the evil that comes anytime a society is filled with men who are unable to, unwilling to take care of, protect their wives and children.
How do we fix it?
I mean, one family at a time. It makes me think of, I was doing a Q&A at an event in Franklin a little while back, and somebody was talking about the national debt, and they're like, how do we fix it? We have all these big problems in the country. A lot of the big problems in the country can only be fixed one family at a time. So as a man, you need to surrender yourself to Jesus Christ and study the Word of God and become a disciplined man and work hard and make money and become strong. And then you can be the reason why a young woman does not become a feminist, because you're going to marry her and love her and lead her. And you can be the reason why your kids are not caught up by the left, why your kids become Christians, why your kids are not groomed by a Muslim rape gang, why your kids are not part of a teen takeover. It's easy to look at the macro and say, how on earth can we fix these problems? You fix these problems one household at a time, and that starts in your heart, because when God changes you and makes you strong enough to lead yourself, then you can lead a woman, and then together you can lead your children. And guess what? That's a little family of 5, family of 6. That's not part of this whole mess. You do that 10 million times over. That is how you lead to an American Renaissance in our culture, one family at a time.
So that's the American Renaissance. Can Europe be saved, in your opinion? I mean, you look at Keir Starmer today. He cried as he was stepping down, and he said, "Oh, you know, I gotta go to be the best wife and dad I can be now." And I'm like, "Great, your kids have security. What about these working class families?" Is England ever going to be saved? Like, I look at Ireland and I feel like I have the most hope there. But what about Paris? You know, what about France? What about Germany? Are they way too far gone?
So those cultures are lost unless you have a massive Christian revival in each of those nations. Andrew Breitbart said all the time that politics flows downstream from culture. I've heard him quoted on that maybe 1,000 times in my career. But what we don't pay attention to is that culture is downstream from the spiritual health of the nation. There's a reason why America's here in the first place, because we had the Whitefield revivals right before the American Revolution. George Whitefield was essentially the first nationally known celebrity in the United States of America before it was the United States of America. He was a traveling preacher, went around to all the colonies and had these huge Billy Graham-style revival meetings, and a ton of the colonists became Christians. A lot of them got saved. A lot of them surrendered their lives to Jesus, and that's the reason why we even have a nation, because a lot of them were crazy enough that they're like, we know we're going to heaven. We fear God, not man. We can fight these redcoats. The Whitefield revival is quite literally why we have a United States of America. So you look at cultures that seem completely too far gone, like the UK and like France, and politically speaking, you're like, it's a total lost cause. But I mean, it's happened before. You can have a spiritual renaissance in a nation. And I mean, you look at somebody who has built their life on lies. Let's say that you're a 42-year-old corporate drone at some UK corporation, and you have gone all in on the Marxist stuff, and you have the pride flags in front of your home because you don't want anybody to think that you're a hater. And
this house was built on stolen land. It's a gun-free zone. You have the sign in the window.
And you've sold out to all that stuff, and it's your identity, and it's your friends, and it's your T-shirts you wear at the gym. Politically, I don't know what you're doing to save that guy, but the Holy Spirit could change his life in a week. And that is the only force that could save a place that's too far gone like the UK, is Jesus Christ.
Do you think that the UK is going to take Keir Starmer stepping down, the prime minister there, and be like, we did it, guys. Everything's good now?
I mean, they're going to pretend that, but I mean, at the end of the day, when you have a nation that's so spiritually broken, I mean, it doesn't matter who's representing you. It's just going to be a new chapter of pain and misery.
Would you support a war of America going to liberate England? I would. I would.
I don't know about that. We had the big war. We had the War of 1812.
We call it the reverse revolution.
I don't have a lot of appetite to fight with the UK.
The sun should never set on the American empire. That's what I want. I want to go liberate England, and then I want to liberate France.
And we're going to make the UK apologize for the Revolutionary War, and we're going to make them apologize for burning down our White House in the War of 1812. That was nasty business. I do not.
We're going to make them pay for the ballroom as reparations. That's what we're going to do. I would honestly support that. I think you get a lot of young men that would sign up for that.
Yeah. But all jokes aside, when you look at a culture that's too far gone, it's easy to black pill and be like, they're lost. Let's write them off. Let's make fun of them. We got endless content, all the violence and all the ridiculous things. And like, these people are just in utter misery. They're lost. Jesus can save them. Jesus is the only one who can turn around that 42-year-old guy who's built his life on lies.
Amen. Josh Tifo, where can we keep up with you online?
At Josh Tifo, THIFAULT, on pretty much everything.
Yep. Josh Tifo, appreciate you as always. Just one more thing. 6081 said, also, while we're at it, let's get Netherlands and take Greenland too. Amen. The sun should never set on the American empire.
Why do we not have Greenland already?
We should have had it.
They can be the 51st state. Like, they actually bring resources into the arrangement. Like, I'm totally cool with that.
11:53, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. You still have time left to take advantage of getting yourself entered to win a beach getaway from our friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. It's going to be announced at the end of June. If you need to purchase a new home air conditioning system, you can do it during the month of June. You'll be entered to win a free 3-day beach getaway. Busy Bee is going to cover the gas, the lodging, 2 meals a day. One lucky winner is going to be announced live on their Facebook page at the end of the month. So make sure you like Busy Bee on Facebook. If you're looking to improve your home's air quality, Busy Bee's got you there as well. 10% off on their deluxe air duct cleaning package, or 5% off on their mid-tier package. You need plumbing service, you take $100 off any repair over $500, and for a limited time, you'll receive a free Yeti cooler with any whole home drain repipe or water repipe project. Don't forget that beach getaway is happening and open exclusively to customers who purchase a new AC system in June. One winner will be selected. Restrictions do apply. Call Busy Bee today, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, or find them online, BusyBeeHVAC.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and this morning we are out and about at my house, my brand new house that I've been talking about on the radio, with Nate from USS. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We invited Nate out. Now, obviously, when you're a new homeowner, especially when you buy a house that's got a few years on it, you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of foundation. And I know that Nate knows a lot more about what I don't see and what I don't know about than I do. So bring the experts out and get them to check out your house. Hey guys, Matt Murphy again with Nate with USS, and Nate has just wrapped up kind of a look at the house. And Nate, what'd you find?
Well, your house is in pretty good shape for the age of it. I had to look pretty hard to find it.
Okay.
Your house being on a slope like it is here, I think we could do a lot of good by trying to terminate your downspouts a little
Okay.
further from the house there.
Okay.
Roof water is the killer of foundations, and so if we can just get it to a positive grade to drain away from your house, I think that's real cheap insurance.
You want to kind of get it out and downhill.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
the idea.
make sure that it doesn't come right back down towards the foundation walls and causing issues, settlement or leakage.
Now, if folks are watching this video and they are like, we need to get Nate out to the house to do a look. I mean, it took, I watched you do it. It's, 30, 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
To do a comprehensive kind of an examination around the house. and they just give you a call and schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our main phone number, or you can call reach USSTN.com and schedule right through the website there. Our girls in the call center will get back to you just about immediately, as long as it's during business hours. So
this just makes a lot of sense, folks, for you guys to do an examination of your house like we've done, to check it out. I'm going to get those gutters done with Nate and his team at USS, and then we'll do a video and let you know how those look at the end of all of this. So thank you, guys.
Hey, that'd be great.
We appreciate you, brother.
Matt, we appreciate you.
Are Democrats waking up to the fact that 80-20 issues aren't exactly a good look to defend?
To the average person, the murder rate's about life and death. You don't brag about a rising murder rate. And the Democrats are, I agree with you, Mika, they're falling into the trap of defending what's indefensible.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Yes, it's a trap. I mean, if it's not a winner politically.
I mean, I think she's right. It is a bit of a trap to root for these 80-20 issues, men and women's sports, boys in girls' locker rooms.
No, that's not 80-20. That's 97-3.
Fair. That's 97-3. But we also have illegal alien gang member, MS-13 members, Kilmar. Democrats defend him. We've seen Democrats rooting for a recession. All these 80-20 issues, and this is what made the Democrats realize it? How long until they forget again? A few hours, tops. It's 11:58 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I was waiting for Chad Benson to come in the studio to do a cross, and then a little birdie in my ear by the name of Mason, who's not little or a bird, told me it's not Chad today. It's Brian. Brian Wilson, welcome to the program. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. I enjoyed that last interview immensely. I thought that was great. It's good to have you back in your saddle there.
I appreciate it, man. And I gave you your flowers this morning. Thank you for filling in for me, not last week, but the week before, so I could take off for vacation a little bit earlier. I do appreciate having a pro like you ready and willing to step in.
No, you're kind.
What news stories are you paying attention to today, Brian?
Well, I've got a blessing of stuff here on my rundown. Iran and the situation there does seem to think that it's still on tenterhooks, but it looks like things are moving in the right direction for a peace deal. We'll talk about the pool. Well, it's not a pool. It's a reflecting pool down at in Washington that's been damaged. It looks like it's been vandalized.
Okay, so here's the funniest thing. So my brother-in-law, he leans to the left. I love him. He's awesome, right? So we get on vacation. We see my brother-in-law, and I said to him, the first thing he says to me, he's like, "Hey, I was wrong. You were right." And I was like, "Oh, I like the sound of this." And he goes, "Trump won. I was wrong." And I was like, "Well, thanks for saying that." He's like, "I told you I'd tell you if you were right." As we were leaving, I said, I was only half paying attention to the news.
Yeah.
So as I was leaving, I was like, "Hey, did you hear?" He's like, "Oh, the reflecting pool has all this algae." I'm like, "Yeah, people are vandalizing it." He's like, "No, that's a conspiracy theory." I was like, "Oh, well, you'll have something else to tell me I was right about when I get back and see you again."
Exactly right.
Brian will update you on the latest on that. I'm looking forward to hearing it, Brian.
Very quickly, also, we're going to talk a lot about the people who are coming to America for the World Cup and how they are loving America. We'll do that in 11 o'clock hour, and we got a lot, I think. There's Austin Power news, too.
Did you see the Japanese fans at that one World Cup game? They stuck behind at the stadium and cleaned up all the trash?
Cleaned up the mess. I mean, isn't that wonderful?
Base Japs. I love it.
Right.
Brian's in next. It's 12 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.